Ryan Coogler's contract extension meant one thing at least: more Wakanda-centered projects. And we will be getting to a Black Panther sequel, but also a Wakanda Disney Plus series, which will give us a lot more insight into many fields of the country, the nation, the tribes, the people, as well as the technology and magic side of things of the heart-shaped herb, which is a huge deal when the Black Panther mantle is taken into consideration. Seeing it as a starter of the next two projects stemming from the first Black Panther movie that took the world by storm, we now have the sequel to that movie, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Unfortunately, without Chadwick Boseman in the Black Panther suit after his tragic and sudden passing, and the confirmed Wakanda Disney Plus series for which we are here today, Marvel Studios decided to not recast the role of T'Challa in honor of Boseman, which is a noble thing to do. Which also brings us to a whole new take on the franchise, with it focusing more on the place where the Black Panther originates from, the people, and everything that made the entire Wakanda civilization tick, from technology all the way to the resources they managed to find way back in the day. The first movie was directed by Ryan Coogler, and according to him, the sequel of Black Panther is expected to exceed the first movie, in that he thinks that the way things are right now, he might even regard the sequel as the one to draw even larger numbers than what its predecessor did, or maybe just as much. The movie as it stands right now will release on November 11, 2022. Hopefully, there are no more delays regarding the movie, and we are mentioning the movie because we think it will have a much larger impact on the Disney Plus series we are going to be talking about shortly. And before we do that, let's just turn our heads towards the brain behind all of it: Ryan Coogler. The world and Marvel fans came to know Ryan Coogler as he renewed his contract with Disney Plus for another 5 years, news that was published by Deadline last year. And in that particular contract extension, as a bonus, we got the news that the star director is in fact in the process of creating a drama series based in the Kingdom of Wakanda for the Disney Plus streaming platform. So far, everything we managed to hear from him has been on the positive side of things, as he expressed his excitement and a good relationship he has with the Walt Disney Company, with the Black Panther movie on which he was working being his dream come true. So we might imagine what is the feeling of being able to work on yet another 2 projects surrounding the same environment. And with everything in motion, let's turn our heads towards the mystery series that is about to drop sometime next year on Disney Plus. It seems like Wakanda is indeed forever, and not just a meaningless title given to a movie. The new television series is set in the Kingdom of Wakanda, as it could have been somewhere else. And as we said before, we'll see Ryan Coogler helming things. So after all the dust has settled with a contract extension and all of the close connections Ryan Coogler has with Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige, Ryan also said that he will be part of the MCU in a big way, as after the 2 upcoming projects and the likes of the Black Panther sequel and the anticipated Wakanda TV series, he is poised to continue his collaboration with the people working behind the MCU, with him delivering even more movies and TV shows in the future of the MCU as well. So, with that in mind, what can we expect from the series itself? As with every other Marvel Studios project, as soon as the news that Ryan Coogler is set to direct a Wakanda series on Disney Plus, fans started to wonder as to what this series will entail and what would the series be exploring. To start things off, it is not a mainline MCU series, and the fact that it will not be about any Black Panther storyline specifically, as confirmed beforehand, the series could really touch on any number of topics, as many as Coogler wants. Wakanda was introduced in the first Black Panther movie, and ever since then, Marvel seems to have never gotten a chance to explore the country further, outside of the scenes in the final battle of Avengers: Infinity War. And that is why we think the series will be worth the watch, as it can examine Wakanda at length and tell stories that would otherwise be impossible to tell in the constraints of a movie. One of the things we are most excited about the series is that it could potentially expand upon the fictional nation and the rich culture they showed to have. And with that in mind, what are the venues that Ryan Coogler could go into? The thing we need more of is the little brief look we got into the lineage and ceremony behind the Black Panther, with the series diving deeper into things. Hear more about the history of the Black Panther hero, as it is a title that is handed down through the history of the kingdom to warriors, a symbol that exists as long as Wakanda. The line of succession could be something worth watching, as we might also get more details about the science or magic behind the heart-shaped herb's gift of superhuman abilities. The ties between the beginnings of the Black Panther hero and the forming of the country could also come into play, as the two are closely connected. It would be an interesting sort of like history lesson of how the nations were united, with us learning more about the previous rulers and how Wakanda became the technical marvel we know it to be today. When we are at the technology side of things, we have to talk about vibranium, as it is the material, the source of everything. Thus, the series might showcase how it is harvested and how it is used in the technology and the weaponry in Wakanda. The vibranium itself has proved to be one of the rarest, but also the most valuable materials throughout MCU history, and the series could potentially take us through the properties of the material. The technology of Wakanda has not been explored, or at least not to the extent we would all want to. So the series might take the time to outline why is vibranium so important and the effect it had on the civilization throughout their history as a nation, which would also show many of Shuri's inventions and the genius she has to expand and further her country's use of it. Another interesting thing that makes Wakanda unique in the way how things work in the country is the tribes, who all have their individual traditions and cultures, with many of them inspired by real African tribes, something the series could potentially dive deeper into. A detail that might give us a little bit more sense of depth to the world, making the entire series even more real and fleshed out. And last but not least, what we think this series could put a focus on is the most interesting elements of the first Black Panther movie, and that is the all-female warrior group called the Dora Milaje. To see them on a screen for an extended amount of time would be a plus, just because of the fact of how unique they are and how much they respect their honor amongst the ranks of their own and to their king. The Wakanda series could showcase to us the ways they live by, how they were formed, how they train, and what are the traditions of those individuals, if they have any, of course. This way, there would be a lot more exciting action scenes and fight choreography. Seeing all of the women in action, maybe there might be a place for more individuals to be showcased outside of Okoye. We might get a new favorite, but it would be quite a hard task to do, as Danai Gurira did a phenomenal job for the character.
Wakanda has survived for so long by fighting when only absolutely necessary.
On a related note, tell us in the comments down below, what are your thoughts on the Wakanda culture so far? The way they operate and rule the entire place, and if there is one thing the upcoming series would want to focus on, what would it be and why? But also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you would like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.